Okay, on to wheel and axle. Um, a wheel and axle is really just a larger diameter um, cylinder connected to a smaller diameter cylinder, such as a wheel and literally an axle. So the wheel of a car and the axle that's driving that wheel. So you can get mechanical advantages with these two. These are pretty useful machines. Um, for example, one thing really need to be cautious of when you're looking at wheel and axles is what's the where's the effort force coming from or being applied, and where is the resistance force coming out. That's very important because you can work this either way. I mean, I can either use my hand and use the axle to turn the wheel, or I can use my hand and use the wheel to turn the axle. And flipping those is going to flip your IMA and your AMA. Um, so we do need to be cautious of that. So this is the diagram that Project Lead the Way uses to give it an analogy of either a second class or a third class lever, depending on which where the effort force is being applied. So here we've got the steering wheel of a car. We've got a larger diameter wheel, and we've got a smaller diameter axle that goes into the vehicle. Where is the effort being applied on a steering wheel? Well, the effort's applied to the wheel, so the wheel is driving the axle. So your effort is on the wheel, and your resistance is on the axle. So so um, here, Project Lead the Way gives you a little picture in your equation sheet to calculate for calculating the IMA and the AMA. Instead of so it's very similar to the levers, except that we're dealing with probably radii or diameters instead of just plain distances on a lever. Um, so here we've got a lever, and the axle has a diameter of 6 inches, and the wheel has a diameter of 20 inches. We don't know what's being applied where. Um, Basically, what Project Lead the Way is saying here is that we can use the diameters in our IMA equation. Um, Now, you need to make sure that they're both diameters or both radii. You can't use the diameter of one and the radius of another. So they either have to both be in diameter or both be in radius. So what is the IMA of the wheel if the axle is driving the wheel? Okay, so the axle is driving the wheel. That means that our effort is on the axle. So that's going to be our distance of effort is the axle. So 6 inches over the diameter of the resistance, which is the wheel, which is 20. So our IMA is going to equal zero point 0.3. If we flip this and we have the wheel driving the axle, well, our effort and resistance are going to flip, so it's just going to flip from just 20 over 6, so it'll be 3.33. Um, didn't we just do that? Oh, okay, so they gave us a different number here. So what's the actual mechanical advantage if the wheel is driving the axle? So if the wheel is driving the axle, so our effort force is applied here. So this is our effort, which is 70, and our resistance is 200. So remember with actual mechanical advantage, it's FR over FE. So it's 200 divided by 70 equals 2.86. What is the efficiency? Well, we know our AMA. To calculate our IA or our efficiency, we need the IMA as well, which we did on the previous slide. So we put our AMA over our IMA, and that's what we get. Okay, last on this PowerPoint, we've got pulleys. These are, of course, very useful in the right circumstances. Cranes make good use of pulleys, and pulleys can range from very simple pulleys to fairly complicated ones. Um, there's two basic types of pulleys. There's the fixed pulley, where basically this is hung from the ceiling, and we throw a rope over it, and we pull down, and the thing we lift goes up. Um, as opposed to a movable pulley, where the rope this time is attached to the ceiling, and we go underneath the pulley, and we're gonna pull the rope through, and we're gonna lift the rope. Um, and so in this case, the entire pulley moves, whereas here the pulley doesn't move. One thing you'll notice is that a fixed pulley doesn't give us any mechanical advantage. It just gives us an ideal mechanical advantage of 1, but it does change the direction of the force. You pull down, the object goes up. Over here, the movable pulley, we do get a mechanical advantage of 2, and when we pull up, the object goes up, so the direction stays the same. We can get more complicated pulleys, and the more complicated the pulley, the more it can do. So if here's an example of what you might call a block and tackle type pulley, so this one is going to give us a significantly higher IMA. So to calculate the ideal mechanical advantage of a pulley, and you're not calculating it, you're just reading it off the picture really. It's the number of strands that support the load. So this is my load, my 600 pound motorcycle. And the number of strands that support the load are 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4 strands supporting the load. This one isn't directly supporting the load. I mean, it is, but not according to the picture that we're looking at. So just the ones that are directly lifting up on the load. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this would have a mechanical advantage, or an ideal mechanical advantage, I'm sorry, of 4. So this is also on your equation sheet. The IMA for a pulley is the total number of strands supporting the resistance, which is what we just talked about. Okay, compound machines. If you have more than one simple machine that are working together, you've got a compound machine. And to calculate the overall ideal mechanical advantage of the machine, you just multiply the ideal mechanical advantage of the one machine by the ideal mechanical advantage of the other machine. So here we've got an ideal mechanical advantage of 2 in my movable pulley, and that's feeding a lever, which is a type. What type lever is this? It's a type 2 lever, because the resistance is in the middle. So they're just multiplying those two together, and you get an ideal mechanical advantage overall of 6. So what is the actual mechanical advantage of this pulley system here? Remember, mechanical advantage is a dog going a little mad upstairs. So again, we've got the actual mechanical advantage is the FR over FE, and you do not have to memorize that. Again, that's on your equation sheet. What is the FR in this case, in my pulley system? That is the 800 pounds here, and my phi, this is how hard the person is pulling, is 230 pounds. So the actual mechanical advantage is 3.48. I don't really know why they put it to 1, but what's the efficiency? Well, what should the mechanical advantage of this system be? It should be 1, 2, 3, and 4. And notice we don't count this strand right here on the very right because it's not pulling up on the load. The efficiency, we'll just do AMA over IMA again, is 87%. If we were building with VEX, we would be building levers that looked somewhat like that, but we're not doing that this year, which is a bummer. So